from?
No, people they be asking about my deep voice sometimes.
That's a fantastic voice, I gotta tell you.
Listen, I promised myself at some point this year I would be in somebody's commercial. I would be reading something for somebody, and I've done a small project for somebody, so that's a start. So
That's what it takes.
We'll see what happens.
It takes a small start, and it takes a lot of perseverance.
Yes, it does. And I literally just came in from work. I was like, I gotta get this stuff done.
What's your regular day job?
Funny enough, I work for human resources of a security company.
Okay.
So I am the HRC for the Philadelphia region and South Jersey region.
That was my wife's career, was human resources.
Really? Nice.
Human resources. It feels,
Yeah, it makes you feel important.
Nice, gotta get the beard looking nice.
It's funny because I just cut it down.
Yeah, I've had a beard most of my life, but never that long. I chicken out and I trim it.
Oh, well, you know what? Since you showed me that picture, here's a picture. I took it for my passport photo. Oh, God. I think I was 25, 26. I shaved my whole beard off.
Oh, wow. Nice. Wow, you're just shaved all the way around.
Yeah, it's like a whole military. I look like a military kid.
It does. It looks like a military photo.
It really, really does.
I had a beard when I met my wife, and after we were married, I shaved it off. She had never seen my face. I came out of the bathroom with a towel covering the bottom half of my face. And I was looking at like, what the hell are you doing? And I slowly lowered it, and she was like, oh!
Yeah. If they don't see you without it, they're like, Oh, gotta love it. Yeah, I trim it every once in a while, and I don't know. I'd rather just keep the face full of fur.
Yeah, I mean, that's what, I've got a perennial stubble.
Oh.
I've mastered the eternal stubble. It grows, it starts becoming a beard, and I just trim it back to a stubble. I've mastered that technique, so I've never clean shaved.
Oh, wow. I think this was the last time I've ever been clean shaven. I think that's the very last time. Other than that, I just like, nah. No, it's not for me.
I prefer not to be, but every now and then, because I'm also an actor, I have to be clean shaven for a part. So
Oh,
I'll
cool.
shave if I have to. But
Yeah.
I prefer not to.
I don't blame you. I do not blame you. Alright, we'll give it another minute or two. It's a beautiful day. How's the weather out there anyway?
Pretty beautiful. I mean, Southern California. Southern California is usually beautiful. Sometimes gets hot in the summer, but I have to tell you, I've been traveling around. I've been to 5 different cities in the last 5 weeks, and Philadelphia was crazy hot.
Yes, it
Washington was crazy hot. Atlanta was crazy hot. Austin was crazy hot. Phoenix was crazy hot. Being here, it might be 90, but it feels, feels like autumn. Because it's compared to like Phoenix or Austin, it's a breeze. There's, Phoenix was like crazy. It was like 11 o'clock at night. It was still 103 degrees. It just didn't cool off at night. I couldn't figure that out. That's
no, thank you.
yeah.
No, thank you. That is not a place I need to be or want to be. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, Philadelphia gets hot, but it'll cool off in the evening, right?
Yeah, like we really haven't had a heat wave. Like we had a mini one that was like maybe 2 days, 3 days tops, but it wasn't humid, so it was all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember East Coast. I'm a New Yorker by birth, so I remember what East Coast weather is like.
Oh wow.
That's one thing about California. Got great weather.
Oh boy, oh boy. All right, I guess I should start this intro. Let's go to what is living behind that boy's eyes is purely and simply evil.
You are now listening to Space Arena.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another stream. I'm your host, the Bearded Baritone, and today we have a special interview. Second interview this week, actually, and third interview since I've been on Twitch overall. First and foremost, greatly appreciate your viewership, whether it's one person or 1,000 people. I appreciate you. If there's anything I can do to make this stream more enjoyable, please do not hesitate to let me know in the comments section below. If you never get a notification that I'm live here on Twitch, you can always find it over on my Twitter. I almost always post it on Twitter, except if I forget. Next, if you want to see what I do in my everyday life, you can find me on Instagram, which is also on the left-hand side of your screen. You can see me eating food, traveling to different conventions, seeing important celebrity people, things like that. That's pretty much how I found our guest here. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, and I always say this before every stream, viewer discretion is advised. Without further ado, Mr. Warren Davis.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm pretty much recovered from the last 5 weeks. I was actually away for the last 5 weekends at different retro gaming shows around the country, which is where I met you.
There
Was I believe the first of the five.
you go. I'm number one.
There you go. So yeah, it's been a busy 5 weeks, and I've been away from home more than I've been home. But like I said, I've had a few days to relax and kind of catch up on my sleep and my energy. So I'm feeling pretty good.
I can't imagine five.
Well, that's just the last 5 weeks. I've been this year. I've done about 10 shows so far, and I'm scheduled to do another 7 or 8. So it's a pretty busy schedule for me this year, and I don't normally travel this much and make these many appearances, but earlier this year my book came out, and that was a big deal for me, and I'm trying to promote it. I'm trying to let people know about it. So that is getting me out of my house and traveling around the country. Which I gotta say, I mean, there's energy involved. It's a little exhausting for an old guy like me, but I'm having a blast. Every place I've gone has been fantastic, and the people I meet are fantastic. So,
Hey, listen, plug your book, whatever. Chat, he's got a book. I mean,
this is how bad I am at self-promotion. I don't even have a book handy to pick up and show. I have to go grab one from over there if I really want to do that. But
all right, so
I'll do that later. Let's
yeah,
just chat for a while.
yeah.
I'm not here to hawk the book. It's not my reason for existing.
Understandable, but that's a lot. Like 5 different shows in 5 different cities. And then you were telling me about the heat, and oh no, no.
Summertime. Every place I went was just oppressively hot. But thankfully, I spent most of my time inside an air-conditioned building. So,
True.
And frequently, I don't think I've left the building, like, especially if it's at a convention center attached to a hotel.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
I literally don't go outdoors. I think in Philadelphia, I didn't see the sun for 4 days. It's fine because it's so hot out there. I'm just going to hang out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny because the DJ who was at the Jersey show, he couldn't be here today because it's his girlfriend's birthday. So he of course you got to go take her out. You got to do that. So
well, happy birthday to her.
Oh well, hold on, Shelby. You happy birthday to you, Shelby.
Shelby, happy birthday, Shelby, fellow Leo.
Oh, there you go.
Us Leos, we got to stick together.
Listen, it is funny because I don't know too many Leos.
Really?
I really don't.
Wow. You know how like on Facebook, your friends' birthdays, it tells you when your friends' birthdays are?
Yeah.
It seems like every day in August, I've got like 5 birthdays.
Ooh.
It's just crazy how many August Leo birthdays I have.
No, not me.
Yeah.
Not me. I don't know too many Leos.
But when is your birthday?
Mine is February 24th.
Wow, you were so close to being a leap year baby.
Very close.
But wait a minute. Now, not that this matters a lot, but 24th, you're on the cusp of something.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What's your?
So I'm a Pisces.
Pisces. Okay.
And I think it's Aquarius. Yeah, I think it's Aquarius.
What is the defining characteristic of a Pisces?
You got me. When people start talking astrology, I'm like, nope. And then it's like, I don't know. It's like, as a kid, you would hear about it. Oh, you're a Pisces. You're a Libra, Sagittarius. Now it's just like, oh, you're a Pisces with a banana moon and a rising. And I'm like, listen, it's too much. I can't follow all of that. It's too much.
I got to tell you. So when I was younger, and again, remember, I'm old. So when I was younger, it was like the Dark Ages. They just started doing this like computer astrology stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd send in your birthday, but more than that, you'd send in the location of your birth and the time of your birth,
Mm-hmm.
because you know your birthday, it's a pretty wide net, right?
Yeah.
But they tried to get as specific as they could, and then they I remember sending away in the mail, right? And I got back this computerized printout, and it looked, it was like printed on a dot matrix printer. It looked, the way computer stuff looked back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but man, it was so detailed. It was like it gave me a chart, and it gave me,
Really?
your rising sign, and this and that, and what planet all your houses were in, or whatever.
Wow.
It was like 20 pages, and I was like, wow, that's really detailed, and it was all done by a computer based on the information I gave it. And I thought,
That's pretty
certainly,
pretty deep.
it's pretty deep. It's certainly more deep than looking in the newspaper, and seeing whatever the ridiculous horoscope in the newspaper said. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not 100% convinced that the planets are defining. But we'll see. I've got an open mind.
yeah, I think because if I'm correct, you know what? It's funny. Birth certificate right now. I'm pretty sure I was born on a Saturday, and I think the time was like 8:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Oh, I was close. 8:24 in the morning.
You know who probably remembers that very well is your mother.
Probably.
She's probably going like, oh yeah. She's probably remembering either the pain leading up to that or the relief of having you out of her.
So, get this. I asked my mom, because she had me when she was about 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know she was pregnant because she was on the track team
Okay.
for months. So she was just running track with me inside of her, and she had no idea she was pregnant.
And do you like? Are you uncomfortable when you're standing still? Do you feel like you always need to be in motion?
Yeah, feel like I need to do something. But yeah, so I've never been to Phoenix. It's too hot. Me and heat, we don't get along too well.
Yeah, I had a lot of conversations with people there saying, "How do you live here? It's so hot." And to a person, everyone said, "Oh, it's only 3-4 months out of the year." So
3 or 4 months out of no, that's too many already.
yeah, yeah.
That's too much. But I didn't know they got monsoon season there either. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That was
Yeah.
kind of weird for me, and I was just like, but you guys aren't really by water.
Well, water falls on them. I actually drove through a rainstorm when I driving back to LA from Phoenix last weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean I'm familiar with rain. I grew up on the East Coast, but it is unusual to when you're driving and you just see this sort of like gray in front of you, and it's only like in one spot, and then and everything else around is fairly normal looking, and then you drive right into it, and it's just pouring rain for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. That's kind of like, when we get snowstorms and it's just like, oh, it looks beautiful. Next thing you know, it's a complete whiteout, and it's just like, all right, well, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in LA.
No, I wouldn't expect it to. I've been to LA once. One time, I was working at a casino. I got off work like an hour or two early, caught a flight, got on the plane, got off the plane, went right to the hotel, and we kept on going. I met some friends, went all over the place. I regret that I didn't get an In-N-Out burger. I never
Oh,
got.
yeah.
I didn't get one. We went to the original Benihana's.
Okay. Is it Benihana's or
I think
was
the original Benihana's.
okay? That's possible. I suppose. I don't think I've ever been there.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, it's hibachi. I love hibachi anyway. Like, I get my money's worth. And yeah, then we went all over the place sightseeing, and it was a good time. But that was 8 years ago. So
Okay.
so LA has changed, especially
Yeah, it has, but I wouldn't say. I mean, because I've been here 26 years, and I'd say it's changed a lot from 26 years ago. I'm trying to think how much it's changed in the last 8.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: when I first went to LA, and my friends were like, "Well, where are you?" and I'm like, "I don't know," and they're like, "Well, what does the sign say?" I'm like, "I don't know," and I took a picture of this graffiti on the wall, and I sent it to them. And they're like, "What the fuck are you doing there?" I'm like, what? Is a bad area?" I was in Skid Row. I had no idea where I was at.
Oh, okay.
So I was in Skid Row before it was like really, really, really bad.
Okay.
And I was just like, I'm a walker. I walk everywhere. Listen. And I was just like, oh, okay. I guess I
Yeah.
shouldn't be here.
Yeah. It's actually easy to walk accidentally into Skid Row because it's like a block away
Hmm.
from what you'd call, I guess, normal downtown Los Angeles. It's just like one turn and a block away, and boom, you're literally in the midst of Skid Row.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was just
Yeah.
like, this is interesting. And I went to Little Tokyo for the first time. That was pretty neat. Like
Mhm.
that's the closest I'll ever be to Japan again. So we'll see. Hopefully, after this whole COVID thing, they'll open up their borders and get tourists again.
Did you go to any barcades when you were in LA?
No, we have them here in Philly.
I mean, there was well, actually, the actual barcade. I know. I hate, just to be clear. I know that there's an actual place called the Barcade, the original. But now I use them kind of like the way people use Kleenex to indicate a tissue, even though So I tend to say Barcade as the generic, even though. But there is an arcade. There is an arcade with a bar in downtown LA, not far from Little Tokyo.
Oh wow,
Uh, I think it's called 82.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, nice, nice little bar, nice little arcade.
Oh, I'll definitely have to try that next time I go. It's been so long since I've been to LA. I miss my friends there. Like I'll go and see them. Hopefully, maybe next year, maybe this year. Who knows? My best friend actually lives in. Oh God, I can't, like not too far away from LA. Maybe
Okay.
2 hours from LA.
Good.
She used to live in Anchorage, Alaska.
Wow.
And yeah, she went from California to Alaska, back to California. I was like, well, why are you going to Anchorage? And she's like, well, it's more money because she was a phlebotomist. And she's like, I've never seen snow.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I'm like, you've never seen snow, so you're going to Anchorage, Alaska to see snow for your first
That's
time
true.
seeing snow.
Yeah.
Okay. 6 months
I mean,
later.
I don't know if she's aware, but in the wintertime, you could drive 2 hours out of LA and go skiing. You know, they've
I'm,
got mountains that have snow 2 hours from LA.
and 6 months later, and it's just like, yeah, I'm getting ready. Well, no, it was like about a year later. She said, yeah, I'm getting ready to move back to California. I was like, wow. She's like, I've had enough snow. You don't say.
Yeah.
And she bought she had called me one day. She's like, oh, what do you think of this Camaro? I'm like, you're in a place where you can get like 40 inches of snow. Why would you get a Camaro? I'm like, put it in perspective for you. What if a moose just decides to sit on your car? Like, you're not going anywhere. You're stuck.
Does that happen often in
I don't know,
Alaska?
but hey, moose are like the size of SUVs. I'm not taking any chances.
Alaska is one of those states that I had never been to. I've never been to any part of Alaska,
Me
so
neither.
it's on my bucket list, I guess. I mean, I'd like to think that I'll visit every state before I die.
Yeah,
Uh, Never made it to Alaska yet.
I just want to go see the Northern Lights. That's it.
Oh yeah,
That's the only reason I really want to go. That is the
yeah.
only reason.
No, I absolutely would love to see the Northern Lights. I don't care where I see them from. My wife claims that you could see the Northern Lights from uh, Minnesota.
Supposedly, yes. But I would rather the experience in Alaska. That's just me. Because a friend of mine went on an Alaskan cruise and I was just like jealous.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
pissed.
Well, you You've lit a fire under me to go to Alaska and see the Northern Lights now.
There you go. There you go. You gotta go and do it.
It's on my list.
Absolutely. That's definitely one of the places on my list. Mine is go back to Brazil and definitely Japan. I have to go. I
Mm.
really would love to go. I'm excited to go.
Have you ever been to Australia?
No, after hearing about the flight is what, like 48 hours or something crazy?
No, it's not that long. I mean, it's long. I went once. I had a fantastic time, and yeah, there was a little bit of jet lag, but man, I loved it there, and I'd love to go back. I had a layover in New Zealand, but the only part
Ooh.
of New Zealand that I got to see was the airport because I didn't actually go out of the airport. I just had to change planes. But
Oh,
I was in
wow.
New Zealand for like 4 hours just at the airport.
Now, New Zealand, I would love to see.
Yeah,
Not
that's
even,
another place.
not even just because of the Lord of the Rings, but I would just love to see it. It looks phenomenal.
It's fantastically beautiful. I mean, from pictures and movies and things. Yeah, love to go see that. There's a lot. There's a lot of the world I haven't seen. I really spent most of my life traveling around this country, so I've been to a lot of places in this country, not Alaska, of course,
Not
but
Alaska.
I've seen a lot of this country, and I have been overseas, but yeah, there's so much more overseas that I need to see.
It's not enough time. It truly is not enough time.
Yeah, I hope that there are like retro gaming events that I can go to because that's a fantastic excuse for me to go someplace. If there's a retro gaming event there, it's like, sure, invite me over, I'll come.
Exactly. Now, I will admit, I'll be the first person to admit, whenever I go to conventions, I always have the same thought when I see people who I just don't recognize, have no idea what they've been in or what they have done. And when I saw your booth, and I was like, Warren Davis. I'm like, qbert. In my head, I'm like, where the fuck did they find this guy? Like, where's he been for X amount of years? I was just like, huh?
Yeah,
And
well, I can tell you where I've been. I'm traveling around the country. No, I'm. The thing is, no, I'm not a celebrity. I don't think of
yeah.
myself as a celebrity. I made qbert.
Hmm.
That was my first game back in 1982, 40 years ago. This is actually the 40th anniversary, and but I was completely anonymous. In 1983, qbert was everywhere, literally. Uh, you couldn't go to any store and not see qbert merchandise. You couldn't turn on your TV. There was a qbert Saturday morning cartoon. He would pop up in various pop culture things. It really was an enormous success and a mainstream success. I've got articles clipped out where qbert is mentioned in USA Today, the New Yorker, Glamour magazine. Glamour magazine, come on. So it really was everywhere. But I personally, and the other guys, I don't want, I need to remind people that qbert was really the product of three people: myself, Jeff Lee, the artist, and Dave Thiel, sound designer. But all of us were just anonymous. um, and I think the company we worked for, Gottlieb, they wanted to keep it that way. So because there was actually an article in a video game magazine that interviewed us, but Gottlieb would not let them use our names. So, or photos. We were given pseudonyms. So my pseudonym was the letter D, Ziner, Ziner. And Jeff Lee, the artist, is Artiste, Artiste. And then Dave, our sound guy, was J Walkman. So yeah, I'm very used to being anonymous, and I have been for most of my life, and I continue. I worked in the arcade industry for 14 years, and then I moved to California. I started working on home games for 10 years. So qbert was just a part of my past and never really came up much until I'd say the late 90s is when the retro gaming thing started. The whole, people started remembering those old games, and and then I started getting invited to retro gaming events. And I've been going ever since.
That's wow.
Yeah.
I was just like qbert. I was like, man, God.
Well, and then it doesn't hurt that qbert has sort of been popping back up lately
Yeah, it
in
has.
Wreck-It Ralph and Pixels and
Exactly.
stuff like that. So it's great. And then when I go to these shows, I'm always amazed. There's like because parents will come up with their little kids and they're like introducing their kids to the game. Not as well as the character. So
That sounds like a good feeling.
it's fantastic. It's an amazing feeling. It's very it's a real privilege to have created something that people remember with such fondness. It's a gift.
Oh, absolutely. Because I was born in '90s, so that was before me. But
Oh,
I was
you're a
still,
young stuff.
yeah, I was still able to play old school games like that.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, the arcades they never really went away. I mean, it's
No.
hard to imagine how big arcades were in the early 80s. The 70s and 80s, I mean, arcades were everywhere. And then some of them didn't survive. Like the mid 80s, there was a crash. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of them went out of business.
That was a big bad crash too.
Oh yeah. But then, it started to come back and like arcades didn't completely go away. And it seems like now there's more arcades than ever. With a nice, healthy mix of old games, new games, pinball machines. That's the other thing. Pinball, my God, I was worried pinball was going to die forever. Thank God it didn't. It came back in a big way. It's nice that there's still pinball machines out there.
Yeah, New York apparently was like the big mecca for pinballs. Like I even remember the articles of how they tried to ban pinball machines in New
Hmm.
York, and I can't remember the guy's name exactly. He showed them that it was based off of skill, not luck, and not gambling. It's amazing.
That's Roger Sharp you're talking about.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Roger Sharp used to work at Williams. When I was working at Williams, he was there as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Now Williams, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure they make slot machines.
They did. They started going into that business. Actually, I'm not sure when they started going into that business because originally it was a pinball company, and then in the 70s, 80s they got into video. Late 70s, maybe early 80s, they started doing their video games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure when they started doing slot machines, but yeah, they were big makers of slot machines there for a while, for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Because I like working at the casino. I was just like, we got the Bally's machines, we got Williams, things like that. Oh, McNux. McNux says you are already awesome.
Woohoo!
Legend.
Well, thank you, McNuts. And you can quote me on that.
That's funny. Oh, that's funny. Legend of Gizmo, good to see you. Greatly appreciate you for being here. We are sitting here with Warren Davis, the man, the 1/3 of qbert.
It's true. Yeah.
So. What made you, like, what gave you the idea of the character itself?
Well, Jeff created the character, Jeff Lee, and he had that character drawn before I even came along. The thing is, it was I was a new hire at Gottlieb, okay, and they were pretty new to the video game business, okay.
Oh.
They hired a guy named Tim Skelly, who was like our guru. I mean, Tim Skelly had a track record. He had made all these hit games for another company, Cinematronics, and we just all looked up to him. But he was working on what would be Gottlieb's first in-house developed game, and it ended up being called Reactor, and it got released.
Mhm.
But he was still finishing that up. That wasn't even on the production line yet when I was hired.
Oh wow.
And then there was a second game that was in the midst of being developed, being programmed by a guy named Tom Malinowski. And so my first job was actually to help Tom out and write little routines for him, just to sort of help him out, and for me to learn the hardware and learn how to program for the hardware, which I did. And then Tom's game got canceled, and then basically management was like, okay, Warren, make a game. That was it. That was literally the extent of my instruction. Make a game.
Oh wow.
That was my job. So it's funny. People say, so what made you start making qbert? And I would say, well, it was my job. It was my job to make a game. But I'm just being facetious. Really, I didn't really have a game idea. And I thought I needed to teach myself some more programming techniques. So qbert actually just started as a programming exercise. It wasn't supposed to be a game. It was just me taking an idea and trying to program something. Basically, the cubes that form a pyramid. Jeff Lee had created a screen filled with those cubes, because it's a repeating pattern of like 6 of our background blocks. If you repeat 6 blocks, it'll fill the screen with cubes. And I saw that one day, but I thought, it's interesting to me, because if you were to carve that into a pyramid and a ball fell on the top cube, it would have one of 2 ways to bounce, down to the left or down to the right. And so every time it landed, it would have a binary choice of which way to go next. And in 7 rows, you could fit an entire path of a ball in 1 byte of data. So I started working with trying to generate random numbers, and every byte that I generated was a random number, and every bit in that byte told me if the ball was going to jump to the left or to the right. And I just programmed that. And that's all I was thinking of doing. I didn't have any game in mind. I just wanted to program a ball bouncing down a pyramid of cubes. And I did. And okay, that's cool. And then people would look at it. People in the office would come by and look at it and go, man, that looks cool. You should do something with that. So I'm like, well, okay. I guess I could put a player character on it and he can jump around, right?
Let's put this snake just right here. He might look cool.
Well, that was, that came later, because it was like, first we had the player character was jumping around. Then it was like, well, we got to have somebody chasing after him, or it's not much of a game if he doesn't have somebody chasing after him. So, and Jeff Lee is the one who came up with all these characters. I honestly, it didn't matter to me what these characters looked like. There was no theme or anything. It was just, I need somebody to chase after the player. Boom, there's Jeff with a snake, with a coiled snake.
With a whole coiled snake.
Yeah. But it just went on like that. That's the whole game was developed that way. There was no plan.
Oh wow. I mean, some of the best things aren't planned.
I agree.
They just happen.
I agree. I feel very lucky to have been given the opportunity to just sort of play and explore. This works, this doesn't work, what should I put in next? I had, complete free reign to do anything. That's not to say people didn't give me a feedback. I got plenty of feedback. Oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that. People gave me tons of ideas, but if I didn't like an idea, I didn't do it.
Yeah, you didn't have to do it.
If I did like an idea, sure, thanks.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I mean, it was an interesting time, really, and it was just an interesting time in the industry because management and again, I think we were lucky at Gottlieb. Our management, was not arrogant enough to think that they knew how to make a good video game. They didn't know that, so they left it to us.
That's crazy, and it's to think like the middle of 1980s. It's like the big video game crash. Everybody was just like floundering, and then this whole crazy company from Japan just comes in and they're like, here you go.
Which company are you talking about?
Oh, we're talking about Nintendo. They were
you're talking about like for home systems.
Yeah,
right?
they were just like, here you go. And it's just like, well, what is this? We
Yeah.
don't have to go to arcades anymore. What is this?
Well, yeah. No, that's true. And the thing about arcades, we always were trying to stay a step ahead of the home consoles, and we were successful, I'd say, in doing that up until the mid '90s,
Mm-hmm.
the mid 1990s, because that's when you know the the co-processors, the graphics cards for PCs, and the the systems that were coming out were just beyond what we could produce for arcade games cost effectively.
That's understandable. Now, I did do some searching about you, and I had no idea. Chat, by the way, if you're just coming in, this is Warren Davis. If you have any questions for him about like the video game industry or anything, feel free to ask. But I saw you actually did some work with the Terminator railgun machine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So I had actually worked for Williams and helped develop the system that became NARC. And one of the things that I had done, I was playing around with video digitizing. So I was able to put together a system to let artists digitize like live people, actors, and put them in a video game. And that, really had never been done before. And Narc was the first game to use digitizing, but the images were cleaned up by artists, and it was a pretty clunky system as well. Um, it was hard to use, but the digitizers at the time were crude. My software was kind of crude. But then I left Williams shortly before Narc was released, and I went and I did a game somewhere else for another company. Actually developed a system from scratch with a couple of old Gottlieb colleagues. That became a game called Exterminator, no relation to Terminator. But after that game, I got a call from Williams because somebody was working on this project and quit in the middle of the project, and they needed somebody to come in who could come up to speed pretty quickly, who knew their hardware. And it turned out to be Terminator 2.
That is
So
crazy.
I came back to Williams, which by this time had bought Bally Midway and kind of absorbed Bally Midway into them. And but yeah, I got to work on T2, which was a lot of fun. And I also got to improve my digitizing system. So for the next few years, I kept, and the hardware kept improving. We kept getting more color palettes available. And so I was upgrading my software to make use of that, and and that's why like Mortal Kombat used that system, and NBA Jam, and Revolution X.
I had no idea NBA Jam used that system.
Yeah, yeah, and that's and
Wow.
because of that, my head is among the heads that are programmed in. Like if you go to NBA Jam and you put in my initials and birthday for record keeping, my head will pop up on the player, and you'll play, and my name will be the player's name. Yeah, you'll play as me.
That's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Hey, I used to freak
Wow.
people out in the 1990s. I could go into an arcade and put in my initials and birthday, and my face and name comes up on the player, and the people I'm playing with are looking up like, how did you do that?
Wow.
Nowadays, I mean, that was 30 years ago. Nowadays, I may not look exactly the same, so it doesn't work quite as well. But back then it was cool.
Also, so remember, this is back in the 80s, 90s. So when I say Terminator 2, for anybody in the chat, I mean like when you go to Dave and Buster's and you see the machine guns on top of the cabinet, that Terminator style game. And I'm pretty sure everybody has been to Dave and Buster's at least once or seen this arcade cabinet at least once. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a very, even in its time, it's still popular, but even in its time, it was a hugely successful game. The lead guys on it were George Petro and Jack Hager. George was the programming lead, and Jack was the art lead. and then I was like one of the senior. I was like, because there were 3 programmers and 3 artists on the core team. We pulled in more people later, but so I was the senior programmer, and then there was a junior programmer.
Oh,
But
wow.
it was fantastic. They didn't get Arnold Schwarzenegger, but they got his stunt double wearing an Arnold mask, and and we were able to go out and digitize them in California. We're based in Chicago,
Oh,
but
wow.
people went out to California and got to digitize Arnold Schwarzenegger's stunt double, Linda Hamilton's stunt double, but we had the actual Eddie Furlong himself was digitized for the game, and Robert Patrick
Oh,
was
wow.
digitized specifically for the game.
That's wow.
Yeah, not to mention all of the endoskeletons and all the machinery and sets and props. We got all sorts of reference footage, so pretty much everything in that game is authentic and from the movie, which is I think why it looks so cool. And then I got to digitize little film clips because another thing I was working on was data compression.
Okay.
So normally we didn't have the memory to put film clips in a video game. I
No,
mean,
you,
you know,
there's no way you could have fit like what?
no,
Oh,
like the whole program was like 64 kilobytes of memory. So it's not, yeah. But I was working on compression algorithms, so I was able to find, if we made a small enough window and we could compress it, we were able to get digitized video. So that's why every now and then you see little digitized clips from the movie in the game.
that's that's wild. That's
Fun
really
times.
wild.
It was good times back then. We had
Now,
fun.
what do you remember about Mortal Kombat? Because that's one of the greatest fighters games that's still relevant to this day. That's still going like
Oh
30
yeah,
years later.
yeah. Well, Ed Boon and John Tobias were working on Mortal Kombat when I came back to Williams to work on Terminator 2. Uh, and I remember thinking when I saw what they were doing with the graphics, really large characters.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the problem with Narc and some of the other games that came out after that, High Impact Football, also used digitized characters, but they were small. Well, the smaller they are, the less detail they have. The less pixel resolution goes into the actual character.
Mm-hmm.
So with Mortal Kombat, they were using big characters, and the detail was amazing. I was like, oh my god, that's kind of what I was hoping when I created video digitizing. That's the look I was hoping somebody would use it for, and so I thought those guys were, totally onto something, and of course they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made one little contribution to Mortal Kombat, and that is there is a digitized image of Goro in the attract mode. It's a full screen image, and like I said, with Terminator, we couldn't really fit large digitized images in the program. It just takes up too much memory. So Ed Boon came to me one day, and he knew I was working on compression, and he said, can you do something to get this image in the attract mode? And I was like, well, let me try. So I played around with it, and I was able to get a compression algorithm that compressed it down small enough that it could live in memory. And then I gave him a decompression algorithm that he could put in his code. And then poof, now that image of Goro is in the attract mode for the original Mortal Kombat. So that was my little contribution.
Hey,
Minor contribution.
even the smallest contribution leaves a big impact.
Yeah.
King of the Misfits and Legend of Gizmo, greatly appreciate you guys for joining in. Legend of Gizmo says you're bringing back tons of childhood memories.
Hopefully good ones.
And King of the Misfits says all the memories. I wish I had this kind of skill.
Oh, well, I'm sure you have some kind of skill. I mean, I learned when I was younger and I was first exposed to computers. I just had a mind for computer programming. I don't know why. Um, I also had a mind for math. You know how like most people can't wrap their brains around math. For some reason, I loved numbers. I loved messing around with numbers. I just loved math, and that led me to computer programming. But everybody has something that they are just naturally good at, and hopefully it's something you like doing. I think that
Yeah.
I also kind of think that if you're good at something, you kind of like it because right, it makes you feel good that you're good at something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong about that? I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, he's good at it because he makes some amazing beard products that I use. So I don't
Ah,
even want to hear his mouth because I love his products.
uh-huh.
He's great at his craft. I will
There
say
you go.
that. He is truly great at his craft. Even though it might not be your calling or something you want to put all your eggs in one basket for, you, sir, you know exactly what you're doing. Miss Aries, greatly appreciate you for stopping in.
I appreciate her for listening or caring.
Absolutely. Hey, absolutely. Um, yeah, so you've been in the video game industry for 20 plus years.
40.
40 plus years.
40, 1982. Seriously, that's when I started. It was January of 1982.
That's a time.
That's crazy. I
Yeah.
know.
That is a hell of a time.
It's crazy to me.
Like, so what do you think of the industry these days? Like the products that they're putting out these days. Do you think it's? I mean, it looks amazing.
Oh yeah, there's no question. The graphics are phenomenal, and what we were dreaming of. I mean, I think everybody making video games back in the 80s envisioned something like this. I don't know if we thought it would happen in our lifetimes
Mm,
to get this level of realism, but I think we all knew and expected that it would get there eventually. Um, but I think what's missing for me in a lot of modern games is the interactivity. I wish games sometimes were more engaging interactively. Like a lot of times, you start a video game and you sit and you watch a 5-minute movie, and I'm like, I didn't sit, I didn't start playing a video game so I could sit and watch this movie. I don't care. I mean, I literally don't care. I wanna be immersed in a story where I'm discovering things by doing things. I want to be in control. And there have been games like that. No question, there have been games like that
oh yes.
over the years.
Metal Gear
But
Solid.
yeah. So anyway, so I think it's a mixed bag. I think some games are fantastic. I think the multiplayer online games can be amazing and immersive.
Yes.
Um, and really, I mean, with virtual reality, I'm very excited about virtual reality. Just that, you know, it, talk about immersive. I mean, virtual reality just fools your senses into thinking you are somewhere where you're not, and I just think that's fantastic, and the potential for that is amazing. And then augmented reality is just kind of starting, but I think that's another place where holy crap, we get all the technical things worked out. The idea of just being able to look around your world and see digital things, integrated perfectly into your 3D world. Uh, Mind-boggling what you can do with that. So,
Miss,
I think lots of go. I mean, I think we're a little bit of ways from actual, holodecks. I don't think we're
yeah,
quite there yet,
we're not there yet.
but still, we got some cool stuff coming down the pike. I think.
Yeah, I think we're in store for some heavy hitters. Ms. Aries asked, you don't like the 20-minute Call of Duty videos at the beginning of games?
If I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do next in 30 seconds, maybe a minute, but even a minute's too long for me. You know,
Oh,
yeah,
that's like going out to eat and they put that garnish on your plate and it's just like I can't eat that. Why are you putting it on my plate? It's just like, what are you doing? Don't put that on my
yeah.
plate.
Imagine you go to a restaurant and you get a plate filled with garnish. There's just like 10 million garnishes, but you can't eat any of them, and that's the first course. right? And it's like, okay, you're going to sit and look at that for 15 minutes, and then we'll bring you some food you can eat.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah. No, have you used one of those like the metaverse helmets or whatever the hell they're called?
I've worn some virtual reality. I've
Yeah.
played with PSVR, PlayStation's VR, and
Yeah.
also the Oculus. Well, I guess the Meta Quest 2, which I love. It's wireless. You're completely detached from everything. I do think in a home environment, it's nice to be sitting down. Like I wouldn't stand up, and I know, they're good. They're good. The Meta Quest 2 lets you define an area based on where your furniture is. So it kind of warns you if you're gonna knock into your furniture. But honestly, I prefer sitting down experiences for VR. Unless I'm in like one of those VR the places you go to that have like little walking mazes. Those are so cool too. I love those because you're seeing some fantastical environment, and there's some kind of sword sticking in a stone, and you reach out and there it is, the handle, and you grab it, you pull it out, and you can interact with your environment. I just think that's amazing. I love that stuff.
The whole time you're reaching out to grab that sword, the janitor's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Hopefully you're reaching out for the right thing. Yeah, exactly. Don't want to get in trouble here.
No. I after doing some digging, I saw that you actually did a Spyro game. Now, Spyro is definitely. I was in the Spyro Crash Bandicoot era of the '90s and all of that. How was that?
Yeah. Wow. Oh. I don't know. I'm not even sure I want to step into that pile. Well, listen, the Spyro game that I worked on, I think is universally reviled as the worst Spyro game ever made. I think. I think some people like it, okay? Some people like it. Maybe it wasn't terrible, but it was a project that was fraught with difficulty from the beginning.
Ooh.
For so many reasons. And if I can take credit for anything, and I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but the game was finished because of me. I do sincerely believe without my involvement, the game never would have been finished. It would have just been dead.
Wow.
But I was so, after working on it for months and months and months, and I felt like it was so close. The two factions. So basically, it was a work for hire. It was the first Spyro game that was not done by Insomniac, and there were two companies. It was actually a company of programmers, Check Six. That's who I worked for, and a company of artists called Equinox, and they were working together as partners to make this game. But something had happened, and the management of both of those companies started to hate each other. They had some sort of feud, and they wouldn't talk to each other. And it was towards the end of the game, and I know there were, believe me, that wasn't the first problem. There were millions of problems with this game before that. But somehow their relationship had degenerated, and I went into work one day, and our receptionist said, "Warren, you can go home. It's over. They're not talking to each other. The whole thing's dead. It's not going to happen." And I said, "No." I said, "No. Get them in a room. Get them in the conference room." And I wouldn't leave. And I made I made the guys who ran both companies to sit in a conference room, and I said, "I am going to mediate between you, and we are gonna. I'm not saying you guys have to hug and be friends, but we are going to get to a point where we're going to continue to make this game and finish it." And we did. We were in that room for hours, talking out stuff. And I was trying to say, "Okay, well, hold it now, Em. Don't get too far. You're assuming this, and what do you think? And I was just being a mediator. And at the end of the day, they were at least able to say, "Okay, we'll continue and finish the game." So that was. And maybe it would have been better if I hadn't done that. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But there you
Listen,
have it.
the fact that you were able to get a iconic video game character to continue is amazing. Like,
Well, listen, if that game died, you know, they Universal, I believe it was NBC Universal at the time who owned it. They would have just hired another company and done the next one, which is what they ended up doing anyway. I
true.
don't think it would have mattered in the long run. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I can't.
It still
I have
exists.
mixed feelings about it.
I mean, I love Spyro.
I love the character too. I really do.
What,
I was invested in it. I had coded the character. I had coded that. That was part of what I did in that game was coded Spyro himself, and some of the mini games were mine, and but it became just a frantic race to get something out the door. The original vision of what this game should be just went through. I can't even start down that path. This is a whole book on itself. I wrote a book about my 14 years in the arcade industry, and I stopped right at Disney, which is late 90s. That's where I stopped because Disney was a home game market. But somewhere, if I can ever muster up the courage, is another book covering the next 10 years. Because, man, oh my God, I have stories there. And Pyro probably could be its own book. I don't know.
Because I didn't find out till like later on after growing up. It's just like I had no idea Naughty Dog had like stopped, basically sold off Crash Bandicoot. I had no idea Spyro basically got sold off. I was just like, why would y'all sell these like icons that you guys made? Like, I get that there was new characters you guys wanted to bring out, but you don't see Nintendo selling off Mario or Sonic being
Yeah.
sold off.
Yeah, and again, I never worked for Insomniac or Naughty Dog, and I couldn't even begin to speak to why
Yeah,
those decisions were made.
that was just like, it blew my mind when I found out later on in life, and it's just like, these were your mascots of Sony.
Yeah,
These were your boys.
yeah. But I mean, I could understand. Listen, after qbert, my management came to me and said, you want to do a new qbert game. I had already done faster, harder, more challenging qbert, which was never officially released.
Mm-hmm.
And they were sitting on that and didn't want to release it. And they said, "Well, do you want to do another qbert game after that?" And I was like, "No, I'm. And the thing is, for me, it's like there were just too many other ideas to
Yeah.
to pursue.
No, that's
So maybe they felt that way. I honestly don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. That seems like a reasonable thing for people to want to do is pursue new things.
no, that's true. Just like you, going from video games to pursuing acting.
Well, that honestly, those two roads started
To
around
mer-
the same time.
Oh, they started to merge together almost.
Well, I don't know if they ever merged, but I mean, I was acting before I started video games.
Oh,
That was a path I started down in college, just for fun. It wasn't a career at all, but I enjoyed acting, you know. But again, not professional acting. I was not a professional actor. I would just do like community theater or college theater, just for fun. But then I did before I was at Gottlieb making video games. I had quit my job with Bell Laboratories, and I was living in the suburbs of Chicago, and I quit that job and I moved into Chicago proper, and I started taking classes, started taking improv classes through Second City, because I thought, oh, I don't know that I want to be a real actor, but this improvisation stuff, yeah, sure, that looks like something I can do. So, so that's what I did. I did improvisation. I studied for a year, and then I started. I was part of an improv group, and we played comedy clubs, and that was all while I was making qbert.
oh wow.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. Now, for those of you who don't know, I was looking because I was just like, all right, Warren Davis made video games and things like that. I started looking. I'm like, this guy's been in House, ER, Young and the Restless, All My Children. I said, get the fuck out of here. I was just like, this. I was like, this guy's wearing a lot of hats. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Oh yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just I love acting. It's a fun thing. I wish I could do more of it, but mostly I do more theater than film or TV. I do have a bunch of film and TV credits, but I do a lot more theater. Like I might back in the day, like in Chicago, when my day job was making video games, I could be doing maybe three. I might be doing three plays at the same time. Sometimes I would be doing like a late night show plus a regular weekend show and then maybe an off night show. Yeah, I don't even know how I had the time to do it. I had a family, I had two kids. Uh, I don't know where I found the time to do all this stuff, but I did, and I had a blast. Um, Definitely was satisfying, all the little urges of my life creatively. It was wonderful. And then, coming to LA, it was sort of had to do a little reinventing of myself, but I was able to, fall into certain theater groups and, just really just kept doing it. So all my life I've been doing, theater at the same time as I was making video games.
So, what would you prefer? Do you prefer theater or do you prefer like skits, TV shows, things of that nature?
I love it all. It's hard. It's really hard to choose because they have different. The pluses and minuses are different. Theater, lot more work, a lot harder. You really you don't have breaks. You can't yell cut.
Yeah.
You have to memorize all those lines, and you have to live through that experience night after night after night. But you've got the energy of the audience, which is just intoxicating. It's an amazing feeling to actually, it's a satisfying feeling to do a play and then to stand up at the end and take that curtain call and feel that energy from the audience coming back at you during the show as well. You feel that energy. But film and TV is so different because it's a little bit more technical. Sometimes you have to be aware of the camera, so you're doing a little dance with the camera. You only have to memorize smaller chunks usually, right? And you can cut. You get to do it over. You get to try different things, and really the editor is the one who's going to put it together. Theater, you have a little bit more control of your performance because you're doing it. In film, really, the director and the editor have more control over your performance. They can use takes that you would think were terrible, but it's not up to you. So there's pluses and minuses.
This is true. Have you been working on anything lately?
Not really. What I've been working on lately is promoting my book and going from retro gaming show to retro gaming show, which is a blast. I am having a blast. I do lose my voice almost after every weekend. I feel it now. I don't think my voice has quite recovered from last weekend in Phoenix. But the pandemic really shut everything down here in LA. There was just nothing happening in film and TV for a long time. And there was nothing much happening for me at the same time. But I did a play right before the pandemic, and I did a play last year as the pandemic. We thought it was sort of winding down in the summer. So I actually did a play last summer. But this year, my schedule has been so filled, I just haven't had time. I really have not. Because for theater, you have to be in town for like 8 weekends in a row. And I don't think I've been in town for 8 weekends in a row since the beginning of the year. Yeah.
All right, so wait. Have you seen the play Book of Mormon by Matt Stone and Trey Parker?
I have not.
I have been dying to see this play, and I haven't been able to see it because I heard nothing but amazing things about this play.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I think it's supposed to be real fun, and I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's won like a stupid amount of awards. Like, I mean, those two guys. I mean, they created South Park.
Right.
Like, I don't think anybody knew they would be this big in life.
Yeah, but they did like they did that South Park that had like a Broadway musical director, and the songs were so amazing. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that they would do a Broadway musical and have it be, fantastic.
I mean, it surprised the hell out of me. I was just like, wow, you you made four little kids, and now you're making a whole theater play.
I had a job, by the way, around 2008 to 2010. I had a job. Oh no, 2006 to 2008. I had a job in the same building as their offices.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we used to be able to walk around the building and walk right by their offices, and it was always kind of fun. Can you see them? Are they there? Is that an Stone trademark?
Oh man. So when's the last time you had White Castle?
Let's see. Earlier this year, probably when I was in Columbus in May.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know White Castle was still in Ohio.
Oh yeah, yeah, in a big way. In fact, Columbus is where their headquarters is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I mean, I can still go to the local market and get the boxes of White Castle, but it just isn't the same from a fresh.
No, I hear you. That's exactly what I have to do too out here in Los Angeles. And I've talked to, I don't know if you know this, I'm in the White Castle Cravers Hall of Fame. So I was at the ceremony.
What?
At the ceremony where I was inducted into the White Castle Cravers Hall of Fame, I got to talk to the people, at the top who run the company, and I suggested to them that they come to California, but there are whole tons of reasons why they can't come to California. However, they are in Las Vegas. So I think that's the closest White Castle to me. Las Vegas is about 4.5 hours away. So, that's that. And there are other reasons one might go to Las Vegas besides White Castle. So,
This is true. Uncle Diddy is in the stream. Greatly appreciate you, Uncle Diddy. Time out. Explain to me just how you got into this White Castle Hall of Fame.
Okay. Okay.
What is that?
I'll tell you. It's a good story. So, I've always loved White Castle, right?
Yeah.
But I have a good friend, Jay Blakemore, who he and his wife Casey both got inducted into the White Castle Hall of Fame one year, and I was like, what is the White Castle Hall of Fame? Well, it turns out it's an online essay contest, and anybody can go fill out an essay about what White Castle means to you.
Doing it tonight, chat. We doing it tonight. I'm getting in the White Castle Hall.
White Castle Cravers Hall of Fame, man. and so they've been doing this since I think 2001. Anyway, so Jay and Casey both independently got in with their essays, and they could each take a +1. So Jay took me as his +1, and the ceremony was in Indianapolis that year. So I go to Indianapolis with these guys, and I'm just bowled over. I mean, everybody is so nice. The people that run the company, it's still the family. It's the family of the guy who started the company in 1921, and they are just they believe so much in treating their employees well and in their product, and I'm just blown away. So I'm like, I gotta enter this contest. So the next year, I write an essay, and I get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
That is
so
crazy.
I bring my buddy Jay with me as my +1, and so we had a great time. But that year it was in Columbus. The ceremony was in Columbus. But you could read my essay online. If you go find the White Castle Cravers Hall of Fame website, like everybody who's in it, their essays are all up there. You can read them.
That is wild. That is seriously wild.
Yeah.
Now, I've been streaming for a while, playing a bunch of different games. I'm actually playing Psychonauts 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Great game, teaches you about mental health in a comedic relief way, but basically explaining, what mental health issues are. Have you played anything that really just hit you in the feelings? Something that was just like, this is amazing.
There was a game back in the '90s. I mean, it didn't. As far as like the emotional, I don't know. There was ever a video game that struck me emotionally like that.
Hmm.
But I love this game called the Pandora Directive. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
The Pandora Directive. I think
It,
I
it,
have, but I would have to see it.
it was a PC game played on your PC, featuring a character named Tex Murphy.
Okay.
And there was a series of Tex Murphy games. Pandora Directive, I think, was the third. I want to say third. Maybe it was the second. But I just loved this game because it 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 was a little bit of everything. It was a little bit of a detective kind of. You wander around, you explore your environment, you get clues, you talk to people. Sometimes there were little action sequences where you actually had to get into a fight or get out of the way of something that was coming out of you. It just, to me, it blended every little aspect of video games into an interactive experience. It felt like an interactive movie to me. And to me, that was always what I thought a video game should be.
Mm.
And, you know, yeah, I just love that game. I also loved a game called Shivers, which was sort of in the Myst variety. I mean, I liked Myst a lot, but Shivers was a little bit scarier and spookier and creepier
Ooh.
than Myst. And
Well-
I like that. I like that. Yeah.
I'm glad you just said spooky because Uncle Diddy, who's in the stream right now, he's our resident neighborhood black Ghostbuster here on Twitch.
Okay.
And he plays the spooky games on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And he was actually playing a game today called The Mortuary Assistant. I don't know if you've seen that lately.
No.
It is it's something. You
The
are a
Mortuary Assistant.
Yeah, it
I'm gonna
is.
write that down.
Yeah, definitely write that down. The Mortuary Assistant is definitely something else. Lady J, I see you in the chat, darling. How are you? Good to see you. But he wanted me to let you know that he is in the Chipotle Hall of Fame.
Props, sir. That's fantastic.
I personally don't like Chipotle.
I do like Chipotle.
He has a question. I think he was talking about the Pandora Directive. He said, "Is it like a FMV?"
It isn't. It isn't FMV, and I'm trying to remember if there were any FMV parts to it. I mean, mostly, you were a character walking around. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't believe it was an FMV, but there might have been a little. There might have been little bits, but I don't remember. It was really a long time since I played it.
Now, have you ever worked on any FMVs?
The closest thing that I can say that I worked on was Us versus Them, which was a Laserdisc game. And Us versus Them, I mean, when I look back on it, it might be the game I'm the most proud of. And I think it really was ahead of its time. It was really slated to be a huge hit. It was going to be a monster hit. It tested like through the roof, but it came out just when everybody was realizing that Laserdisc games in arcades were unreliable.
Ooh.
And the distributors, so Gottlieb is a manufacturer of video games. They build the games, right? They sell them to distributors, and the distributors are the ones who put them in arcades or pizza parlors or bowling alleys, or they sell them to those people, or maybe they lease them, whatever. But the distributors make money off of the coin intake.
Yeah.
But they're the ones who buy the games from Gottlieb. Well, the distributors, when they learned that the Laserdisc players were, crapping out in the field, you'd bang the cabinet, the disc would skip, people would get their money back. They canceled all of their orders for Us versus Them. Gottlieb then sued their distributors. Imagine having to sue your primary customer.
Oh, that's ooh.
It was a mess. It was a disaster.
Wow.
And so, Us versus Them, a few of them got out there, but they were setting up to build thousands of these things, and they just didn't get to do it. And so, It is out there still, and you can play it. And there's technology now where you can replace the Laserdisc player with a little teeny circuit board called a Dexter. And a lot of people who own old Laserdisc games have done this retrofit. Much more reliable than a Laserdisc player. It's all digital, you know. You put the movie is actually on a little thumb drive that you stick in the Dexter board, and it's just fantastic. Anyway, but yeah, the reason. So you asked about FMV. The Laserdisc is nothing but video, but movie. And the thing about Us versus Them that was different from every other game that came out is there was a little 10 to 15 second movie story with actors that got you into the level. And then you'd be playing the level, you'd be shooting, it'd be, computer generated planes and alien spaceships on top of flying footage, actual flying movie footage.
Oh, wow.
And then at the end, you might cut back to the control room for another scene with the actors, and then there was certain randomness. So you might get a different scene every time you played. You might not get the same exact scene. So yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff in that game, and I was very, very proud of it and worked really hard on it. And unfortunately, it didn't get the love in its day that it should have.
Yeah, I remember like in the late 90s, you see a lot of FMV, especially on what is it, the Saturn?
I remember on PC. I remember a lot of PC games had FMV,
Yeah,
which
a lot of PCs
which-
have.
and again, that's all digitization. That's kind of what I thought the future was going to be. But then the 3D polygon stuff just completely overtook it. There was only so much you could do with FMV, and there was so much more you could do with 3D polygons. So that technology went out. FMVs kind of went away. But Us versus Them, by the way, you're talking about mid 90s. Us versus Them was 1984. That's why I feel like it was way ahead of its time.
More than likely. If that would have came out in mid 90s, I'm pretty sure it would have been a good hit.
Well, it was, for the arcades. And again, you couldn't put those Laserdisc players in an arcade machine. It just wasn't, you couldn't put enough padding in an arcade machine
No.
to prevent people from smashing into, knocking the cabinet or whatever.
Yeah, especially after you see what they do to pinball machines.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, guys, if you don't know who Warren Davis is, he helped create qbert. He created qbert. He has helped with Mortal Kombat 2.
Well, I just did the digitizing system. They used it for Mortal Kombat 2 and 3. The original 2 and 3.
So, those actors that you see on the old school Mortal Kombat, thank this man because he created the technology for that to happen. Like that's a big step. Like, yeah. Diddy said, "Damn, 84, we getting old."
Oh yeah.
Where's the next stop on your retro game tour?
South Bend, Indiana.
Ooh.
The Power Up Expo in South Bend, Indiana at the end of August, last weekend in August. And then Cleveland in September, September 24th, I believe, in Cleveland. And then October, it looks like October's going to be a pretty full month for me.
Ooh.
I'm definitely doing, oh, God, I can't even remember. I'm doing a Music City Multicon in Nashville. I'm probably going to the Pinball Expo in Chicago. I'm hoping to go to the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. That's also in October. And Syracuse. There's a Retro Game Con in Syracuse, New York that I'm going to. So, I know. And then November, I'll be at Free Play Florida in Orlando. And that may be it. Who knows? There may be. I'm still in negotiation for a couple of shows, so.
Oh my goodness.
It's hard to say. It's very hard to say.
So, now I don't know if you can see my Twitch, but in the top right hand side
Rather
of
suggestive.
my top right hand corner, there's a crown that
I
says,
cannot see that.
oh, well, it's a crown that says GMB, and that stands for Grown Man Business.
Okay.
And you, sir, are handling grown man business
Oh, well,
because
thank you.
you are booked and busy for the rest of the year.
It's
Like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, literally, I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to my downtime, but I'm also looking forward to going to these other shows.
I don't
Oh,
blame
wait, I gotta wait. I'll be right back. I'm coming back.
you. Okay. Thank you guys for hanging out with me as we have this delightful interview with Mr. Davis.
See, I
Oh,
had to go
and
grab them.
there we go. And don't forget, chat, he has a book. He
I have a
wrote
book. I actually wrote this book myself, and it's available on Amazon or wherever fit your favorite bookstore online. You can get it. You can order it. And if you want to order an autograph copy, if you feel that's what you must do, I have a website, warrendavisshop.square.site. That's Warren Davis Shop, all one word, dot square, SQUARE dot SITE, and you can order an autograph copy there. So that's my plug.
King,
That's my pitch.
that's a shameless plug. I love it.
That's it.
King of the Misfits said, checking it out now. Uncle Diddy said, you are a legend player.
Uncle Shaw.
Before we go, what do you do in your downtime anyway? When you're not traveling all over the world and doing plays, what do you?
Well, I'm hanging out with friends, going to screenings of events. Here in because I am a SAG-AFTRA member.
You're SAG? Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how. I mean, to do TV and film
You
out
have
here,
to be SAG. Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah. So I can go to, and then the other thing, I'm a bicyclist, so I like bicycling, and which lovely, the weather here allows you to do that. It's really fantastic. And then I'm also a member of the Magic Castle, which is a magicians club.
That's Ryan Pitchford just bought that.
That's right, Randy
Yeah,
Pitchford.
Randy Pitchford just bought that.
That's right. Yeah. I got to meet Randy Pitchford years ago in Texas. I was visiting the National Video Game Museum. Shout out to them. If you're ever in Frisco, Texas, please stop by the National Video Game Museum. It's just awesome. Anyway, Randy Pitchford helped them out in creating that. And, we ended up going out to lunch. And yeah, it came up that we both were involved with the Magic Castle in some way.
Wow.
I'm just some schmo member, but he ended up buying the
He
building
bought the whole damn building.
so that the castle can, remain there and doesn't have to worry about the owner selling it out from under them. Fantastic, amazing gesture on his part. It was
Yeah, because
really
I heard that they were like going to just knock it down or just like sell it to somebody. And it was just
well,
like,
the thing is, there was always the fear that the owners, and the owners have been great for decades, letting the Magic Castle stay there, but there was never any kind of guarantee, and Randy has promised that he is not going to sell the building out from under them. So
I would definitely love to meet him and just pick his brain. I don't know if you've ever played the Borderlands or seen the Borderlands series that he created. Man, he's just,
have not.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, what's the last thing you have played? What's the last game you remember actually playing?
Wow. Well, it'd be a pinball game.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I love pinball. I love playing pinball. And you know what I especially love is pinball set on free play. That's, phenomenal.
Do you own any pinball machines by any chance? No.
I don't. I own a qbert and I own a Terminator 2.
Really?
Yeah. So those are the only video games I own, and I don't have room in my house for pinball machines. I wish I did. My wife would kill me if I, got anything else to put in the house. She has indulged many odd things that I have in the house, but you know, but honestly, taking care of a pinball machine is a lot of work, and
It
I'm
is.
not sure I like that.
I think taking care of cabinets in general is a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
That's
I also got to give a shout out. I don't know if anybody's aware, but you know, talking about how qbert is sort of coming back into the zeitgeist. New Wave Toys. Are you familiar with New Wave Toys, a series of replicades?
no.
Okay. New Wave Toys. Check them out, newwavetoys.com. They make 1/6 scale perfect replicas of arcade games.
Oh, I have seen those.
They're
They are
amazing.
pretty
They're amazingly
badass.
engineered. You can plug them into, I mean, you could play them. You literally play them right there, or you
Yep.
can plug them into an HD TV, HDMI TV.
Yup.
You can plug in an external controller and just not use the cabinet at all. But they ended up coming out with a qbert this year,
Oh,
and I
awesome.
think they're still selling them. If anybody's serious about it, you can use qbert10 as a discount code to get 10% off. And they also did since we're talking about what I have here in my house, they made a replica of my personal qbert, the qbert that I have, which is sort of a Frankenstein of parts. It was originally a pre-production engineering sample. It's got pre-production art in places. It's crazy, and they literally wanted to make a perfect duplicate, a replica of it, and they did. But they're sold out. You can't buy them anymore. They were limited edition, and they're gone. But still, that was just crazy.
Oh my goodness.
But I recommend to anybody, not even for just qbert, but other games that they made, check them out. Fantastic company. They're sticklers for detail. Really well engineered machine.
Wow. That is amazing. Don't forget, he's not only in the video game industry, he does acting. He is an actor. He's been on House and ER and
I'm available for birthday parties, bar mitzvahs.
have you ever you were on All My Children, correct?
I was, yeah.
All My Children and oh my goodness, the list goes on and on.
It's,
But
yeah.
all right.
I was in a movie
Oh, really?
with Peter Mayhew, who played Chewbacca in all the Star Wars movies.
Wow.
We didn't have any scenes together, but then there was a screening of this movie at San Diego Comic-Con, and while the movie was playing, we were sitting outside because we had already seen it, and I just got to hang out with Peter Mayhew for like an hour and a half, just shooting the breeze.
Oh, wow.
Like, incredible. And
That's pretty amazing.
yeah.
All right, I'm not going to hold you. Two more things I got to know. Number one,
I'm an open book, man.
favorite snack.
Favorite snack? Wow. Okay.
Sir Blackness has just walked in. Sir Blackness, greatly appreciate. Yeah, that's a great name. Sir Blackness, we greatly appreciate you.
Thank you, Sir Bacchus. Okay. Does it have to be something that I'm allowed to eat, or something that I love that I can't eat?
Either or. So wait, what? See, that opens more questions. What can't you eat? What can't you eat?
Well, I'm a diabetic. I have diabetes,
Oh.
so I have to be careful about what I eat. I have to restrict my carb intake. So I love things like cheesecake, but you're not going to find me eating cheesecake, because I don't want to go into a diabetic coma.
Or you don't want to be missing a foot.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, but I love White Castles. White Castles, good stuff.
White Castle.
I like a lot of food. I like pizza, but I again got to limit my pizza intake these days. What was the original question?
Favorite snack that you can have.
Favorite snack? I guess frozen yogurt. I mean, I'll have a frozen
okay.
yogurt every now and then. I have to make sure it's like low carb. But that's the other thing. They do make a lot of really good low carb stuff these days.
They do. It's way better than it used to be.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
taste
It's
like
really
cardboard.
possible. It's possible to eat the stuff you love and have it still be low carb. So thank God for that.
You know what's crazy? Uncle Diddy, also diabetic. He's actually just started doing a liquid diet.
Oh,
So he's doing smoothies and water.
hmm.
He's been doing pretty well.
Is he trying to lose weight? Is that his goal?
Yeah, he's getting right and tight.
I got to tell you, when I was diagnosed and I stopped eating carbs, I think I dropped 20 pounds like within a month or two. Yeah,
Sheesh, Lord.
keto, man,
Oh, the
keto
keto
diet.
diet. Oh yeah. He said it's rough, but he's on it.
Yeah,
He's on it.
you'll get there.
You,
You'll get there, man.
you'll get there.
Keep at it.
We hold each other accountable.
Is that right?
Yeah, I used to be. My heaviest weight was 325.
Wow.
That was
Yeah,
my heaviest.
that's up there.
Yeah, but I no diabetes, no nothing.
Good
But
for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
I don't recommend diabetes, by the way. It's if you had your choice, I'd say don't have diabetes, but I didn't have a choice, so I do what I can.
Oh, do you want to show that picture?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Wait.
so chat. He has a picture of him holding me when I was a baby in 1990. No.
Wait, I'll show this one first.
All right. So chat. I need you guys to guess. Can you guys tell me who is in that picture? Can anybody guess and tell me who is in that picture? Oh, Retta Divine, good to see you, darling. It's Mo Better with Retta. Chat, can anybody guess and tell me? Retta Divine says that looks like Rick James. No, not quite.
Not quite.
Not
little,
quite.
Little off, maybe.
I have somebody in the chat named Lena Days. She says it looks like Linda Ronstadt. And then Uncle Diddy says, "Is that Donna Summers?" King of the Misfits. King of the Misfits says, "King of the Misfits." He was pretty close. I ain't even gonna lie. He said Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, all close.
All close. You're gonna show him the next picture.
Let me see if this helps.
Let's see if this helps. Can you guys tell me who is in that picture on the left-hand side of your screen? Can anybody tell me who that is on the left-hand side? Yeah, it is crazy, isn't it? That's our man. There you go. Somebody said, "Oh, that's Aerosmith." You would
That's
be
right.
you would be
That's right.
correct. That's Steven Tyler himself.
That was Steven Tyler. That was behind the scenes when we were making Revolution X.
Revolution.
And this is a crazy thing. Like I had a bunch of pictures from that shoot for years, but I was looking through a box of pictures that I didn't even know I had earlier today, and I found like a slew more of pictures from backstage or behind the scenes when we were shooting Aerosmith for Revolution X. I literally didn't know I had that picture until this 2 hours ago.
Now, do you even remember that day?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean,
How-
just hanging around Aerosmith. First of all, it was 3 days. We had them for 3 13-hour days. They were long days, and we had a lot of stuff to cover, and we had a lot of stuff to shoot. I was the clapboard guy. Okay, that was my function during the shoot. That's right. And because we videotaped everything that they did for reference, and then picked what we needed and digitized that from the video. But man, just having icons like Aerosmith hanging around with you and working with you, it was insane. It was just like one of those things you can never forget it because it's like so just unreal.
Yeah,
it was so unreal. Wait, I got another one.
That's different. Lena Days, thank you so much for the first time chatting. Greatly appreciate you for being here. Uncle Diddy
my
says
pleasure.
Uncle Diddy says he has a picture of Willie Earl, but they are worth nothing at this point.
All right, let me see. Here's another one here. Doing one of his little signature kicks.
Now, what year is this?
This would have been 93, 93, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, 90. I'm pretty sure it was 93.
Just hanging out with Steven Tyler. That.
Yeah. All of the guys. I mean, and they were awesome. They were just so down to earth. Just easy going, easy to talk to. Uh, you know, guys were calling up their girlfriends and handing the phone to Steven Tyler and say, "Will you say hi to my girlfriend?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, sure."
And it's just like that was their heyday. Like they were just.
They were huge. I mean, you can't even imagine. They were at the top of their form and the top of their popularity back then.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, that's I guess that would be how I felt when oh God. Have you ever watched The Walking Dead?
Oh yeah.
Um. Oh goodness, I can't remember his name. The guy that they handcuffed to the roof of like the very first season.
Yeah.
The guy that plays
Merle.
Yes.
Merle. It was Michael.
Mike
Hooker.
Rooker.
Michael Booker. Michael. What's his name?
Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker.
Yes.
I knew something like that.
I
Yeah.
met him. I have a picture with him. I met him. I was waiting for the bus
Uh-huh.
to go to work, and I was just sitting there on the pavement. And he's like, "Let's go shopping." And I'm thinking it's like some homeless dude. And I look up and he's waving, and I'm like, "Oh shit, you're."
It's
And
Michael Rooker.
yeah, and we just literally, it's mind you, it's 9 o'clock at night in the streets of downtown Philly, and he's going to
Uh-huh.
get food, and I'm like, shit, do I call out of work or nah? Let me go to work. And I walked around with him for like 20 minutes. And he's a really
Cool.
nice guy. Yeah, like
Seems like a cool guy. I've never met him.
oh yeah, he's very funny. He's very funny. He's getting up there too.
I'll drop a name. I know Kari Payton, the King Ezekiel from Walking Dead.
Oh really?
We met doing theater, of all
Oh
places.
wow,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah. So good for him. I mean,
Yeah.
he had a good career before Walking Dead. He was doing a lot of stuff, and he was voicing Cyborg and on
Yes,
the
Teen Titans.
but this Walking Dead has just been amazing for him. So
Yeah.
but it was a thrill. It was a thrill when I found out he got cast. Yeah, because I love that show. I've always loved that show.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Chat, does anybody have any last questions about the video game industry, about Warren Davis, about anything that he's done,
life in general.
life?
Um,
You need advice?
I'm happy to give advice. I don't know if it's any good, but I'm happy to give it.
Yeah, exactly. I would, if you could, off the top of your head, if you had the chance to make a new game right now, give it a title and a quick synopsis. If you could.
Wordle. You got 5 letters, and they could be 5 letters, and then the game tells you if it's in the right order or the right. Well, you don't like that one?
Yeah, it's gonna be a huge hit. It's gonna be
I
gangbusters.
just thought of that right now. That just first thing in my head.
Oh, okay. Lady J says, "Is it hard getting into voice-over work?"
I think it is. Yes.
I honestly, it is like a tight-knit community, Lady J. I got the chance to speak to Phil Lamar for like 20 minutes. Really, really amazing guy. Phil Lamar, he's a voice actor for Green Lantern and various other things. And he even told me it's tight-knit community is very hard. You just got to put yourself out there.
That's exactly it. Get a good demo tape.
Definitely get a good demo tape.
List it in as many places as you can, so as many people might hear it as possible. And I would also say try to figure out what makes you unique. What's your thing, because there's probably a million voices that sound the same. And I think when casting people hear a million voices that sound the same, they tune them all out. And the one that stands out is the one that is in some way just unique and just gives a little quality that nobody else is giving. and I don't know if it's something that can be learned or thought. I mean, it's probably just you being you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Finding your voice.
yeah.
Captain Decent, my man, Captain Decent comes in hot, and he says, "How do you get a White Castle sponsorship?"
Wow. Now,
Well, you
call up White Castle and tell them you made a really famous video game back in the 1980s, and that'll go a long way.
yeah. Yeah, so in case you guys missed it, well, if you're just walking in, uh, Warren Davis is in the White Castle Hall of Fame, and he didn't go over there and eat like a million burgers or anything. So if you want to see that story, you're gonna have to watch the VOD, because I know this man's voice is giving out on him.
It's getting there. No, it's holding up. It's holding up.
Cool, cool. Retta Divine says I will be working on my demo tape soon. Oh, I didn't know
Good.
you were. I did not know you were into voice acting, Retta Divine. I really didn't. And I think I have one tape. I think I have done. I think I should do another one though, but I have one. Definitely have one.
I mean, they say you should have like. It depends on what you want to do, right? If you want to do narration, that would be one demo.
That's
If you want to
definitely
do
going to be me.
if you want to do commercials, that's another demo with a variety of different types of commercials. And then if you want to do animation, that's a whole different thing. We want to do all your character voices, you know. Yeah, but honestly, I don't do it that much anymore. I mean, I really was heavily into voiceover stuff years ago, but it was too hard. It was just too hard to maintain and too hard to, just not get work a lot, it just really requires like constant care and nurturing and, keeping connections, making, meeting people and making connections. It's just so much to it.
Well, yeah, that's like when I met you and Mike brought me over so you could do the magic trick, and I was just like, oh, I gotta talk to this guy on stream. I have to. Now, where did the magic come from?
I loved magic when I was a kid. I was never very good at it. I had a couple of tricks I could do, but that was about it.
Okay.
But I was always curious about it. And then when I moved to LA, I found out about the Magic Castle, and people who could get in would invite me to go with them. And I was just totally blown away. The castle it's hard to describe it. It's just so unique. It's not like any place you've ever seen. It's like this old mansion. It's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. And,
It's like an illusion. There you
it's
go.
kind of, yeah. And it's got, the decor is all like, red velvet and stuff. And it's just very, and you have to dress up to go. You can't just go and looking like your typical slob.
Oh.
It's suit and tie for men, and women have a dress code. And so everybody's glammed up when they go. It's just a really fascinating place. And the magic is incredible. And I always thought, God, I'd love to be a member, but I never thought, I'm not a magician, right? So why would I be a member? But then I talked to somebody who said, it's not just about like how good a magician you are. Part of it is how much you love magic. And I thought, all right, well, let me try. And so I did audition to be a magician member back in 2009. And I practiced. I had like 5 or 6 pretty lame tricks, really. It was the best I could do. But well, I'd say, okay, I guess I'm selling myself short here. A couple of those tricks were actually pretty good. But I did them, and somehow I got in. I became a member. And I've learned a lot since then. So since then, I've been studying quite a bit. They have a huge library available for magician members, and such a wealth. But it's very daunting because as much as I have learned, I have also learned how much I will never learn. There's just so much to it. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But it's fun.
Shelly
Ultimately, I
Thunder.
do it because it's fun.
Shelly Thunder, thank you for joining us. This is Warren Davis, in case you don't know.
Howdy.
So, so have you learned how to reanimate corpses yet, or or bring just lightning out of the sky? Because
Only on a computer screen. Yeah.
Captain Decent says he loves multiplying magic. Give you $1 bill and get 1,000,000 back.
That's a good trick.
That's a damn good trick.
That's like a Bill Gates trick or a Steve Jobs trick.
Yeah,
Um,
it's true.
there is a magic trick that you show somebody 5 $1 bills and they just instantly turn into hundreds. It's a good trick.
Is
Then
it?
they turn back. So it's that's not a good trick.
That's not a good trick if I can't keep it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for even doing this.
My pleasure, man. I'm having a great time.
Oh, please. I am too. Now, I know over the years, even in general life, people they don't stop being friends. They just lose contact or grow and life happens. Like, are you friends with anybody still from way back in the early 80s, 90s in the video game industry, and it's just like, oh yeah, I just talked to them a month ago and things like that.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, thankfully, because of the retro gaming shows,
You get to see them.
I occasionally get to see these people, and
That's cool.
some more than others. But I've got friends from my childhood, not from the video game world, but
Oh.
no, I'm still friends with the kids I grew up with on the street where I grew up.
Oh, well, there you go.
But yeah, no, I do run into a lot of old former colleagues, and that was actually very helpful when I was writing the book, because it was I'd have conversations with them about stuff. Hey, you remember this? You remember that? You remember this? And I'd get their recollections, which would trigger my recollections and paint. It would flesh out the image of what happened. It was one of the hardest things writing a book is remembering what happened and being accurate about it. I didn't trust a lot of my own memories, so I'd always want to talk to other people and get their take and go like, okay, yeah, no, I'm not just inventing that in my brain. That's actually what they think too.
So is this your first book that you wrote, or yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I've written articles. I've written articles for different magazines. Some back in the day, a couple of technical articles for some computer magazines, and I've written, scripts. I've written short film scripts that I've made into short films, but I've never, nothing like this.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
And I see you have a keyboard behind you. So you play music as
yeah,
well?
I do. I play keyboard, piano.
Oh wow. I would love to learn how to play the piano. I
It's
really,
wonderful. I just love that instrument. The only problem with the piano is you can't take it with you.
Yeah, no.
I
mean-
mean, you can. It's a little hard.
I mean, they what did Steve Jobs say? There's an app for that.
Yeah, right.
There's an app for that.
Well, they do
It
make
looks like you're
like
here to stay.
I think
Oh.
rollable, like flat keyboards that are pressure sensitive, and you can literally roll them up. They're very compact, but I don't think they sound very good, unfortunately. I've looked into it.
Captain.
It looks like you're here to stay.
Oh my goodness. Captain Decent coming in and gifting 2 subs to Lady J and Retta Divine.
Wow.
Thank you, Captain Decent. You know you are always greatly appreciative here, my friend. And Retta Divine says, I used to want to learn the keys.
Yeah.
Between that,
It's a beau-
drums, I've always wanted to learn how harps work. Because
Oh.
harps are
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like, they're humongous. But
Yeah.
they play some of the most, delicate, beautiful music.
They sound beautiful, and I've seen people play them. But I've never touched one myself. I don't understand how they work really.
Be soft. It's soft to touch them because they are no joke.
Yeah.
Those things are very expensive. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Chat, anybody have any last questions? Speak now or forever hold your peace. I taught myself the keyboard and guitar and briefly took sax lessons. Ooh,
Wow,
damn.
that's versatile. Yeah,
Yeah, you good. You damn
I
good.
I actually tried to teach myself guitar at one point, but I did not want to build up the calluses of my fingers that I needed to, and
No.
I gave it up. Yeah.
Nah.
And the sax, I love the saxophone too as an instrument, but um, yeah, I've never tried to play. I've tried to play the clarinet. That did not work out. Uh,
That spit valve. The spit valve.
yeah, no, right, exactly. Thank you. No,
Ugh.
but yeah, and I also had a melodica. Have you ever, you
What
know what
is
a melodica is?
um
It's the
no.
keyboard that you blow into. It's like
What?
a little keyboard, but it's got a blowhole. So
I
you
gotta
blow
see.
into it,
I
and
gotta look that up. The
you got
melodica.
melodica. Check it out. Yeah.
Wow, that's a new instrument I've never even heard of. King of the Misfits has played sax since the fourth grade.
More power to him. I mean, honestly, sax, wow, phenomenal.
You gotta have lung power for that, cause
Hell yeah, yeah,
that's no joke.
yeah.
That's whew. Mm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've been on here for 2 hours. Oh my God.
Oh wow, has it been 2 hours? All right.
Yeah, we started about 6:30 and it's 8:20.
All right.
So before we leave, hold on, let me get the right music here. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and our amazing guests, Warren Davis. Any lasting words, Mr. Davis?
Just thanks. Thanks for including me. Thanks for having me on. I've been having a great time, and I much appreciate it. I much appreciate everybody listening. Thanks.
Greatly appreciate you. Don't forget, Chad, he's got a book out. Do not forget, I'm plugging his book, Creating qbert. You can find it on Amazon. You won't be disappointed. Thank you, Captain Decent, for gifting 2 subs. Thank you, Lady J, King of the Misfits, Redda Divine, Shelly Thunder, Uncle Diddy, Auntie Diddy, Redda Divine, Sir Blackness, Lena Days, Miss Aries, Legend of Gizmo, Mick Nux, and everybody who was just lurking in the stream. Greatly appreciate you guys. We probably won't be streaming tomorrow because I will be in Baltimore, Maryland tomorrow for a convention thing, something Mike City is bringing me to. He is the DJ. Saturday and Sunday mornings, we do have brunch and baritone. Mr. Davis, that's basically, I play a game called Power Wash Simulator and listen to music, and we just enjoy that morning and that afternoon. It's just a nice vibe. I don't know if I'm gonna be doing it on Saturday because I'll still be in Baltimore. I'm staying the night. That's if I decide to stay tonight. We will see. As always, ladies and gentlemen, if there's anything I can do to make this stream more enjoyable, please do not hesitate to let me know in the comment section below. And since we have our guest here, Mrs. Davis, could you pick out a person you would like me to raid? Should I? The choice is yours. Should we do a new person to spread the love, or should we do one of our friends here on Twitch?
Wow. I feel I feel unable to make that decision.
Really?
I mean, should I? I don't. In choosing one person, that means I'm not choosing another person. I want everybody to, I want to spread the love to everybody. I don't know how to pick one person over another.
True. This is true.
You do it. You be the bad guy.
Be- Ah, I have to be the bad guy. Okay.
I don't want to be the bad guy.
Let's see. Oh, you know what? I know exactly who we're gonna go to, because she is a baker and a chef, so I know exactly who we are going to go see. Give me a second, chat. I know exactly who we're going to go see. So chat, you already know. You don't have to stay in there. Uh-oh, what happened? What happened? Why did it unbraid? What the hell? I think it worked. Chat, you already know you don't have to stay in her stream long. Show some love and support. Thank you once again, Mr. Davis, for joining us tonight.
You're so welcome.
Take care, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you on the next stream.
Awesome. I had a fantastic time. Thank you, sir.